I'm David G, Sheshnag Yoga Center. What on earth is Kundalini? This video is about go easy on the Y generation. Why? If you look at it realistically, the Y generation is nothing but a product of the Great Depression 100 years ago. What happened at the Great Depression? People had nothing. They had to survive the family on one chicken for 3 days, eat the meat one day, eat something else the next, and then boil it up as a soup the third day. Have to use that, what do you call that? Dripping. Stuff like that. Have to eat some serious stuff. You had to even eat the cauliflower stalks, and my mum still does. But she's a baby boomer. She's like the Second World War generation, post Second World War baby, born in the late 40s. What did they do? They were influenced by their parents. What were their parents? Programmed into a psyche of having nothing after the Great Depression and their parents. What happened? Well, they were encouraged to work most of their life to provide for their offspring. Like me, I personally never missed out on anything. What did they do? They worked most of their life to put a box around them in the form of a house to protect them and create some identity. What were they protecting themselves from? Some fear-induced enemy that was made up. So now we have all security and gated communities and all that sort of stuff. It's insane. But basically, because they are the psyche that come from the programming of having nothing, then they work towards providing everything for my generation. A couple of generations later, we've got an over-endorsement of conveniences. We're not really good parents in the West, or some are, because they spend time with their offspring. Others work really hard and provide things to their kids. They don't want them to experience adversity. They don't want them to learn about real life. They want them to be comfortable, and their life is convenient, based on consumerism, based on comfort. Now, the Y generation, whatever a generation that is, between 20 and 35, are a generation that people seem to attack, especially my generation. What am I? I don't even know. It could be the X generation, or could be a generation that doesn't even have a name. But anyway, there's a tendency to label this generation and then beat down on them because they don't have a work ethic. Why don't they have a work ethic? Because they've been over-endorsed with comforts for all their life, because people have been providing for them. You're not going to convince them to work most of their life like the baby boomers, because that programming's not put into them. I personally don't look forward to the future much. I am an optimist, and I really can't wait until the majority of baby boomers and the people before that die. Why? Because death's not bad. It's just something that happens to everyone. But it'll also get rid of the psyche born on capitalism, based on this pretense that you have to have a big house, based on the pretense that the economy's good. It's actually a form of neuroses. Having a life based on debt, capitalism, cash, it's all insane. The economy's not where it's at. Emotional and psychological balance, the spiritual reality of the human being, is way more significant than the bank account. But because of the capitalistic endorsement of the wars and the products behind the wars, we're still living on 100-year-old technology with the combustion engine. If the baby boomers die, then the combustion engine will go out the window. The fossil fuels won't be needed because there'll be a lot more green energy. Go easy on the Y generation because they're simply a product of the Great Depression 100 years later. 4 or 5 generations later, maybe 6, doesn't really matter. If you look at their programming, they have been provided for from a culture and people that had nothing. And then that programming is still rife within the psyche 3 or 4 generations later. It's insane that because you have a different opinion of things, you feel like beating down on people that don't have a work ethic. Well, if you're going to beat down on them, beat down on your grandparents because they're the ones that instilled the work ethic in the culture. Not to mention what's going on surreptitiously behind the scenes in capitalism and world domination, but that's a story for another day. This is about the Y generation and me being defensive for them, not because I was married to a beautiful one for a long period of time, or a short period of time according to this culture, but it's not because I am feeling an identification with them. It's because I've done research into them. I'm objective and I understand that they are programmed like every other generation. There is a generation following Y generation that will save the world. The kids these days are spiritually in tune. They're more holistic in their perception. They want to share the world unless they're endorsed by the capitalistic parents, and then they'll grow up as a product like the Y generation. There you go. There's a bit of passion. Go easy on them. If you're going to pick on anyone, pick on the capitalists, the people that divide and conquer the world, want to create unity through some farce of some government that'll not so much be spiritually illuminated, but capitalistically driven. Oh my God. Okay, that's enough. I'll leave it with you. Go easy on them. Om Namah Shivaya. Share the world.